In this video, we'll be replacing 1, 2, 3, 4 of the stock Surron bolts that look like this with bolts that look like this, grade 8, 5/16 or 8mm bolts. This one here is 3 inches long, I suppose. So we're going to need a 3.15 inch 5/16 bolt. We're going to need 4 of those actually. We'll be cutting those down to the approximate length of each bolt. This one here is a shock bolt. The shaft length on that is 2.15 inch, but they'll all be a little bit different. So basically we will be bringing these threads here over to about right here, taking this shaft, bringing it out to about here. We'll be throwing this in the garbage where it belongs. Okay, so if this is the shock bolt, we're going to make a new bolt that's the same length, and we're going to use these threads to start our new threads, our new M8 1.25 threads. So we'll take a rough measurement there and we'll cut here a little bit further back. And so you're also going to need a bench vise. So we're going to stick the bolt in the bench vise, cut it, and then put the cutter in the bench vise, and then go from there. The reason these bolts were poorly spec'd is that most of the force in your shocks and in your linkages is directly in the center of these parts, and threads are basically stress risers that will bend most likely at that notch there. So we're going to bring this solid shaft part all the way over to where the aluminum parts end, and then have enough thread to put just a washer and then a nut on the end. Obviously we're going to be wearing safety goggles or at least sunglasses. I like to use sunglasses and just snug them against my cheeks when I don't have my safety goggles handy, which I apparently don't at the moment. So the bolt is ready to cut. I've got a line on there. I'm going to go ahead and cut it with the angle grinder. The bolt is now cut. I need to round this edge off, taper it a tiny little bit so that when we start the threads, it will start in line with the other threads. So I'll switch over to an angle grinder with a flat disc to taper the end of the existing threads on the bolt. So ideally our new bolt should look like this at this moment. So now we've got our cutter facing upward with the tapered part facing upward so that when we go put the bolt in, it'll guide in nice and easy. We're now going to need some cutting fluid. If you don't have cutting fluid specifically, any oil will do. So we'll apply a little bit of cutting fluid or oil, whatever you've got laying around, onto the threads with an old gnarly toothbrush. To start our threads, we'll take our bolt, we'll insert it into the metric cutter there. Then we'll use our impact driver, and we will give it 6 little kicks, and then we'll back it out and then hit it with the oily toothbrush to remove the chips. Then we will put the bolt back into the cutter there. And then repeat that process about 3 times until we've got enough threads to fully go through the eyes of the shock and the shock mount. So yeah, I basically replaced 1, 2, 3, 4 of those bolts. I didn't replace these on the linkage there, but these are the major 4 that I would recommend replacing. And I like to use these hex head instead of the Allen head because you can clearly use a socket and a driver and make the whole process of removing all this stuff a lot easier. That's it. That's all I got for now. Thanks.